when she spoke of those three ladies, I was like, damn, like what if like we actually collectively, like as a species, would do that and encourage one
Mm.
another to like be okay, with each other in our same space. Now, I have to say they got kind of gutter when the lady with the key, right? Her husband told her, I'm leaving you, but pretty
The
much
blue man.
pretty much gave her the key, but was like, don't go open the door. She was like, man, fuck you, I'm going to open the door, right? So she opens the door, sees all the other dead women, right? Enslaved dead women, pretty much. And in fear, she then she knows that he's coming home, and so she was like, I ain't about to get got. I'm calling my sisters, and we gonna kill your ass. So I love that. That's what I got out of it. But yeah,
The
I mean it's
captured woman.
yeah, the capture woman. So
Yeah.
it was just so many things that just kind of like definitely spoke to me, especially with the things that are going on right now, like today, with the whole, overturning potentially of Roe versus Wade, um, and then just the whole like, why come y'all don't want us to have decision making abilities over our bodies, and then the whole now it's a formula shortage, but like y'all fucked us anyway because some black women can't even breastfeed. Like it just kind of like time warped me into a place that I've been kind of exploring for the greater part of, I don't know, 3 or 4 months of like, why is it benefiting so many other people other than women to like keep us oppressed? Like why? So
Hmm.
that's what
Yeah.
that's what I got.
There, there's a story at the very beginning about the woman who's able to turn bones into life again.
Yep.
I think that is what society is trying to suppress in women, like our ability to bring things back to life after they have died. Especially like our society, you know, what benefit would it do white men in particular to give power to women if their greed is locked into the death of the world, and you know what I mean? So that's like a huge portion, even in our ability to actually give life physically.
Hmm.
So power wise, it makes sense. And the book is literally like giving you different examples of how women are powerful. I mean, the Vasilisa doll, the skeleton woman was a really good one too. Even the one that you were talking about just now, the captured woman. My favorite, though, I'm sorry to jump around,
No,
was
it's okay.
the ugly duckling. That literally the skeleton woman and the ugly duckling story. I had never looked at the ugly duckling the way that she looked at it, and
Mm.
that particular story is the one that changed my life forever, because me hopping from career to men and not feeling like I belonged anywhere, and then I realized, oh, okay, it was because I was around a group of people who actually didn't resemble me.
Hmm.
uh, that oof, I was like, this woman, I had to give her a round of applause for that. That was
I don't think that story was in the Audible
uh,
because when I was going through the actual physical book and the Audible to kind of like prepare for today, like it was a lot of stories that were left out.
mm,
So if you can kind of like speak to the ugly duckling, just kind of give a high level overview of it.
okay, so basically the ugly duckling was a swan whose egg rolled into like some other bird's nest. And so its entire life it was made to feel ugly. And the mother at some point she tried to love the baby but couldn't because she didn't know how because of society. And so this entire time this ugly duckling just keeps going, keeps trying new communities, keeps getting rejected, shot at, had to try to survive during the wintertime, almost died. And then finally, the swan, after going through all of that, comes to a community of swans, and they don't treat him any differently. And then he looks at his reflection and realizes that they look just like him. And the point of the story was that she says something like, and I'm going to like, shorten it, that wolves, even when they're hurt, they keep going. They'll limp to get to where they're going. They'll try to find other people to help them or other wolves to help them keep going. And that, to me, I was just like, one, that's Black people overall, our ability to keep going no matter what. And it should be more women that decide to keep going no matter what, instead of trying to stay in pockets to where they don't fit and to where people well. You know what I mean? Keep going. Keep trying to find your tribe, because it will come to you eventually. But you have to also notice in yourself that you are different, and that's okay. I mean, if you do get a chance to read that part, please, please, please read it. Not even the story, but the overview that she does afterwards.
Woo. I think, like, and that's a really, really, really good story. And I think, like, just speaking from my own personal experiences, like, I felt like the ugly duckling and a lot of different, circumstances, experiences, and relationships that I found myself in. Like, I've always felt like, and not even always, but like recently, like I would probably say maybe the last 10 years of my life, like it's really hard. It's almost like, what is it? The round peg in a square hole. And I'm kind of
like me.
Yeah. And I'm like always like trying to force a fit, and it never feels natural. And I was almost starting to think like something was fucking wrong with me, like the ugly duckling, like, damn, like, maybe I need to adjust my personality, or maybe I need to be this, or maybe I need to be more of that. But then as I started to like kind of go within and really know who I am and spend time with myself, like, I realized like it ain't fucking me. Like, this is who I am, and the people who, my tribe, like, we'll come together.
Absolutely.
As soon as I stop trying to force it and stop trying to adjust. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. That's the whole overview of the story.
Yeah.
I'm like, that part in kindergarten.
I'll give it a standing ovation for the ugly duckling.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah. That wasn't the first time that I actually heard that story. I used to watch like Ayala back in the day, like back in the day. And I don't remember if it was on her show or if it was one of the last shows that she did her little crying thing with Oprah, saying that she thought that Oprah didn't want her to have her own show, or she couldn't gift her something like that. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was her and Oprah or if it was her, Oprah, and Maya Angelou, but Maya Angelou spoke about that story. So even though it wasn't in the Audible, I've heard that story a couple times. But it's still, I mean, it still don't make it sting any less, right? Especially when you come to the realization that, yeah, like, you're not really the oddball out. I think it's just, channeling that intuition to be patient and to wait to know that your tribe is being prepared, for you. So,
yeah. And then to know that like everything happens in its season, like when it's supposed to happen. You're not, anywhere in an accident. You're exactly where you're supposed to be in your life. But then I also want to kind of touch on what you were talking about with just keep going, like that survivor mentality. Like, I think like it's situations like that where people don't feel like they belong, or they feel like they don't fit, and they kind of develop this survivor's mentality, and they don't know how to break from that. Like, and I think that you kind of touched on that too, Brittany. So if you can kind of just like, touch on your life experiences, like when you came back from Jamaica and you were in that, survivor mode, like, oh my fucking God, I don't know where I stand. Like, what gave you the courage, outside of this book, but like what kind of like, jumped out at you to kind of cause you to pivot? Because you're not a school teacher anymore, right?
No, I'm not.
So what kind of like jumped out at you to like cause you to take that leap of faith? Because that's hard as shit.
It was a very hard decision. I had to think about like hundreds of kids, you know what I mean? Not just me, but also like the effect that I've had on so many people in 3 years. But really, honestly, it was that book. It was noticing that this entire time I had been surviving.
Thriving.
Surviving, depressed, angry, upset about everything, frustrated. And once you understand that, oh, I am surviving, that's when you can move forward into and not caring about, because I had to, oh, you're not a teacher anymore. You're not going to teach. You're not, you know what I mean? What are you going to do after this? Well, that's not for you to know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's society. So understanding, oh, okay, I have been surviving. So now what does thriving look like for me? What does thriving look like for my son? What does thriving look like for the people that's surrounding me? And how can I grow at this point? So then after I came back from Jamaica, everything was just about me growing as a woman and figuring out, okay, who am I outside of what other people even think that I am? So I started eating better. I started exercising every day. Literally, hot yoga. Hot yoga saved my life. I started meditating, cleaning more often, but also understanding that like we all go through seasons and times. Like sometimes I do just want to lay in a bed, and that's okay. Sometimes I feel like working out, and that's okay too.
Yep. There you go. Like that grace, showing compassion for yourself. Like, you always hear about, oh, compassion, and it's always like outwardly extended. And we don't kind of give ourselves and, give that grace and the compassion to ourselves. So that is really important. I'm glad you kind of touched on that. So we can jump into the next question. So one of the archetypes was the mistaken zygote. And so a mistaken zygote feel like they dance to a different drum, more different than the people around them. How do you identify with this archetype, or what does the mistaken zygote mean to you?
I mean, I have always felt like I've danced to a different drum. And she actually says that. She says,
yeah,
you've noticed
it. You
this.
feel
Yeah,
it.
you've noticed this your whole life.
Because you're looking around at people like
this don't feel right.
Right.
So I mean, it literally brought tears to my eyes. Like, oh, I'm not going crazy. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm not going crazy. Now what? Now I can not I've never felt like I should be anything other than who I am, but I would always think about it. Like, if I were to be this other thing, will my life be easier? Will more people like me? Will I be in better relationships? But with this, I decided myself that, oh, okay, actually, I have been doing well as I am. I have been. So now, what if I fully accept what I am? What happens after that? What will me as a mom look like now? How can I be a better parent? How can I be a better version of myself for myself? That one hit.
So, I really appreciate, the change and, just kind of fully embracing yourself. But like, even after you start asking those questions and you start moving more into that person, like, do you still get, the ugly talk and the nasty talk, from yourself? And how do you overcome that?
I'm going to sound crazy, but I literally during that time had to decide, oh, okay, I have me, and then I have wisdom, and then I have worry, right? And so now I have to be able to differentiate between what that wisdom is, that intuition, what's that intuition, and what's the worry that has been planted inside of me. And so feeling guilty when I feel that worry, I have to understand that that's actually probably my younger self talking and trying to protect me, right? And then the intuition that's actually never led me astray. And so it's just a constant battle between, not a battle, it's a constant, I'm a Libra, so let's just say a scale, right? It's a constant tipping scale between what I'm going to decide to use. Am I going to go with the worry, or am I going to go with the wisdom? And so me deciding that I'm not going to beat myself up whether I go either way, and understanding that I am a human being, but trying to lean more into the wisdom part rather than the worry part.
And leaning more into like the wisdom part and your intuition, did you feel like you were stretching yourself? Like you were going outside of your comfort zone, like initially when you first started to make that pivot?